What up guys, today I'm going to be reviewing Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 101, and I'm also going to be recapping what happened in this chapter, but also I do want to talk about, some discussions and topics that we've been having with the power scaling, like where Beast Gohan lies in the power ranking, where is he comparable to Goku, also some stuff about Broly and his little fight and scuffle with Vegeta, because there were, the spoilers and the synopsis for this chapter that came out, and they were showing some stuff with, a whole fight between Vegeta and Broly, and I thought that was pretty interesting, so I want to get into that. But before we get into this, I do want to give a big shout out to a couple new subscribers, one by the name of Evil, Firebrand, Z Great Gamer, Jeremy Ernst, Great Burns, and I'm pretty sure that's all of them. So yeah, big shout out to all of you guys for subscribing to this channel. I'm pretty close to getting to 500 subscribers. When I hit that mark, I'll be able to monetize my channel, so I can't wait for that. But let's get into this one. Now, the chapter started off with one of Magenta's workers, the guy with the big poofy hair. His name is Carmine. So Carmine basically came back from his funeral, and he's there with one of the other agents and stuff, and they're talking about the Red Ribbon Army being destroyed, the president being killed, the Cell Max basically being taken down, and they're basically talking about, well, our boss is dead now, our facility has been destroyed, our plan has kind of gone, sideways, and everything is going down. What are we going to do? And as, Carmine is talking to this guy says, so are you thinking of rebuilding them back up or something? And he's basically, hesitant on bringing back the Red Ribbon Army just right away, because they just, they just went out with, their big plan, and it failed and backfired on them. And they lost their big facility, they lost a lot of money, a lot of time, they lost their leader, so they're pretty much in shambles right now, and he clearly wants to come back, but he just doesn't know what to do. So as they're talking about what to do to bring back the Red Ribbon Army, if they should bring him back, as they're driving, they see Goten and Trunks, who at this point are dressed up as superheroes, as their Saiyan Man 1 and 2. And they're basically fighting some random street thugs. It's nothing really too important, but they're beating them up. It is kind of funny though. There's a part where Goten is having one of the burglars in a headlock. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, they're just beating the crap out of them, casually whooping them. And as they're beating them up, Carmine is watching them, and he's like, whoa, they're really powerful. So he's devising his new plan on how to take down, Gohan and Piccolo, because they're the ones who took down Cell Max. Even though he didn't see it because he left before, he got, what's the thing called, released. He still knows and assumes that it was them two, because they were the most powerful ones there. So he's like, how do I beat these guys? They're too powerful. I can't just go back to doing the same thing that the previous leader did with Magenta's plan, because it obviously didn't work out very well. So he sees these two superheroes. He's like, well, they're pretty powerful. Maybe I can manipulate them and trick them to use them for my plan. So he's talking to them, and they're hanging out in a pizza shop. He's trying to lie to them and manipulate them, saying, yeah, these are very bad guys. And he's also trying to gaslight them by saying, oh, but if you guys are scared, maybe you don't have to do it, and this and that. Obviously, Goten and Trunks are pretty young, and they're also pretty arrogant, so they want to showcase that they're very powerful. But this plan's not going to work, obviously, due to the fact that they are family members of the guys that they're trying to take down. So this is kind of a dumb plan to begin with. Obviously, Carmine doesn't know this, but us as viewers, when we see this, it's like, well, this plan's not going to really work out well, obviously. So I do have a little theory, or a little thing I want to talk about why they dropped Carmine and his plan, because this plan's not going to work out. He's going to be taken down anyway. So what's the point of making him survive and then come back and doing this whole plan? Because I remember when they first announced his survival and what was happening, me as a fan, when I heard this, and some other fans, I'm pretty sure, felt like, oh my god, really? Are they gonna do another continuation with the Red Ribbon Army and, you know, Gohan, Beast, and this and that? Are they gonna continue on with, you know, the Black Frieza thing? Luckily they did, but also they continued on with the Red Ribbon Army and Dragon Ball Superhero story a little bit, and I was wondering why. But after reading this manga, chapter, I kind of got a little bit of an idea, and I want to throw out my theory out there on why they made him survive. Of his plan is clearly this stupid and is not going to work. So after this, we finally get into some new stuff, some stuff that we wanted to see. We transition into the fight between Vegeta and Broly. They're both fighting in base at this point, and Vegeta's kind of, he has the drop on him. He's actually beating him. He charges in to attack him. He gets behind him, ends up kicking him, sending him flying. He starts having Broly spam Ki Blast, which, never works out. He's easily dodging it. Vegeta's doing a lot of different tricks. He's able to handle him pretty well in his base. And then there's the little shot that we've been seeing a lot, this little image that's becoming a little more popular, where Broly punches Vegeta. Vegeta tanks it in the face and ends up smiling, though he is bleeding a bit from this shot. Right afterwards, though, he basically talks to Broly saying, hey, you're really powerful, but and you're showcasing great control, but by controlling yourself, you're kind of holding back a lot. So he's like, so it's good on one hand that you're controlling your power, but it's also bad that you're having to hold back a lot. And he's like, I will show you how to, use more power without, losing control. So he goes Super Saiyan. A lot of people were, because whenever, we see stuff like this in fights, the power scalers always say, oh, that basically means that this character needed to use this form. That means that this character is more powerful. So the argument people are using are saying that base Broly is stronger than base Vegeta, and Vegeta at this point still has to use like a transformation. Because, in the movie, Broly got so strong even in his base form, he was able to handle Super Saiyan God, Vegeta, and Goku. He was able to do that, but the thing was, that was a while back at this point, because now we had the Moro arc and we just finished the Granola arc, and both Goku and Vegeta have gotten significant power-ups, so their base should be significantly more powerful. So the fact that Broly's still able to handle it is pretty impressive, right? But when you read the manga chapter, you realize the reason why Vegeta transformed into a Super Saiyan wasn't because he felt like he was in danger and it was a threat and he needed it. He did it to showcase to him that, hey, look, you can transform without losing control. So I think it was more of an act of showing how you can unleash that power. Obviously, even as strong as Goku and Vegeta have gotten, base Vegeta isn't that much stronger than base Broly. I do think he is definitely stronger than him. He was casually able to move and dodge his attacks and, take whatever he was throwing at him without even having to transform into Super Saiyan. So I do think he can handle him, but I wouldn't say he's significantly more powerful than him. And in his Super Saiyan form, he's able to dodge multiple attacks. He even hits him with a hard shot, which he can clearly feel it. And then another image that a lot of people kind of took a little bit out of context when the spoilers were dropped was Vegeta hiding behind a tree in Super Saiyan, saying also that not only is Broly in his base stronger than base Vegeta, but he's also stronger than Super Saiyan Vegeta because he had to hide and stuff. And yes, it was a spoiler, so we didn't know the full extent of what was happening, but this is the biggest problem with a lot of Dragon Ball fans, especially nowadays, and when it comes to power scaling, is we tend to jump the gun and say, we see one thing and you're like, yep, automatically this character is that powerful, that character is that powerful, this character is this weak. But it's like you have to look at the context. Like Vegeta transforming, he didn't need to transform because he was in danger. He transformed simply because he was trying to show him, how to transform and control that power. And in this instance where he's hiding behind the tree, it might seem like he's hiding because he's too dangerous and he has too much pressure and he can't handle it. But in reality, the reason why he was doing that was to showcase to him that in a fight, it's far more complex than, it's not as straightforward as just two people going head on. Sometimes you're going to have an opponent hiding or doing different sneak attacks or different tricks. So he was showcasing off because even in Super Saiyan form, like Vegeta was showcasing he had good ability to handle, Broly in his base form alone, and in Super Saiyan form he was also doing pretty good. So him hiding behind the tree wasn't necessarily meaning anything. I think just people were looking way too into it and trying to make it more of a deal, because a lot of these fans love to, they love this clickbait stuff. They love to, jump the gun with his power skill and say, this character is this powerful. Like, calm down. He's clearly just doing this to showcase him, to train him and stuff. It's not because he needs to. But there is some pretty interesting dialogue after this while Vegeta and Broly are still simultaneously going at each other. And we see, Goku talking about it. And then we see Whis, talking to Goku. And he says, well, Broly's holding his own against Vegeta. And Whis says, we've witnessed some growth, at least, but the true training has only just begun. And Vegeta starts talking to him, saying, to battle without losing yourself is an achievement, but you seem to be unable to unleash your true might. That won't do. So this is also pretty, interesting, because Whis is seeing that Broly is, improving. Some people will try to say that this means that Broly has some secret power hidden. I don't think that's the case. I just think that when, Whis said that, it was basically saying, yeah, it's just begun that, yes, he has gotten some control over his, his rage and stuff, and he's getting better at it, but he still has quite a bit, ways to go in this journey to improve. So I think that's what he meant. But I do like what Vegeta says right here. Is pretty interesting, and it's a little bit showing, because he says to him, he's like, yes, you controlling your power is great, but by controlling your power, you're pretty much lowering your power so you don't go berserk. Because when he transforms, it's because when people say when the spoilers dropped out, it's like he can't transform. Is like no. It's not that he can't, is that he can't transform without losing control. So he's trying not to transform because he's afraid of losing control. He can do it easily. I just think that the control is the hard part, so he tries not to use it in that case. And that's why Vegeta transformed to showcase to him, like, hey, look, you can transform and not lose your cool. But Broly's case is a little bit different than Goku and Vegeta, because when they transform, they get maybe a little more aggressive, especially at first, but it's not a significant change in their personality. I think the closest would be like when Gohan went Super Saiyan 2 and he got legit, like, ridiculously cocky, and his personality changed. So I think that was interesting, and also do want to talk about Gohan in that regard too, because I think there's something interesting behind that. But Vegeta stating this is also important, because, like I said, as his power scalers, we have to take everything into consideration. Yes, was Vegeta being able to handle base Broly and his base, and with just Super Saiyan alone, and this is like a big achievement, because before Broly in the Broly film, as he was gaining power, he was able to at least handle Super Saiyan God. Some people say, well, he went to his Ikaria state, like the transformation, the Zaru, but base form state. But still, he was able to handle shots from, Super Saiyan God. So the fact that Vegeta in his base or in Super Saiyan form is able to whoop him, that showcases a significant increase in growth and power, right? But as he states right here, the fact that he has to hold back, clearly Broly is not fighting at full power, and he can't really use that full power, or utilize it at least. So yes, Vegeta was kind of dog walking him in base, and also a bit in Super Saiyan. But we also have to take into consideration the power scaling, that since he's holding back, he's not using full power. So let's say Broly didn't have any of this anger issues, what if he unleashed his full power in his base? How well would Vegeta do against him? I do think that Vegeta would be stronger than him, but I do think Broly would be significantly more, give him more of an advantage, and he would be more improved in the fight. And as this is happening, basically Vegeta ends the fight saying, hey, look, you're clearly haven't caught in the grasp on how to fix your problem. And Broly's asking, like, so what do I do? And Vegeta's like, hey, I'm not giving you the answers. You have to find that shit on your own. As a martial artist, basically, if you want to be better, you cannot rely on others to explain to you or tell you how to be better or what to do. You need to, a real good fighter is able to analyze their own problems and come up with solutions and stuff, So that was basically just a bit of a fight. It wasn't a full-on battle on seeing who would win. It was just to see, where he's at. This is showing a little bit of, where he ranks now compared to Goku and Vegeta, but it isn't fully fair due to the fact that he can't really unleash his power. But the main thing that we've seen here is the fact that he is trying to control his power, and if he does, he can have a significant role to play and a lot he can do. And I think that's one of the excuses that they could have on why he wasn't used in the Moro arc or in the Granola arc, because he's clearly not having full control, and they need him for this one because Frieza's the biggest threat they have right now, and he's a big danger too. He's not just very powerful, but like his goals and what he's trying to do, it can be very dangerous. But after this, they finish the fight. Then we have a little bit of dialogue between Beerus as he starts talking, and some stuff from Whis. Whis is talking about Gohan and what he did. And we have some crazy stuff. It says right here. I know as Chile is talking to Goku about Black Frieza, she's like, "Isn't he very powerful and dangerous? Can he come here at any moment?" And Goku says, "I know he's a bad guy, but I'm still impressed that he went and trained in that hard to surpass us." So yeah, Goku once again doing what Goku does. Even though they're an enemy, he gives them props because he's really fighting oriented, and even as vile as a person is, he loves fighting so much that if they were trained hard enough, he can give them some respect. And as this is happening, Beerus starts talking some shit. He says, "There's always going to be someone or something stronger than you." And then Goku's like, "Got something to say?" And he's saying, "So keep training and stuff like that." And then he starts talking about Gohan. Now I want to talk about that, about Beerus saying that. We know this. We already know this at this point, that there's always somebody stronger. I hate the fact that Toriyama and Toritaro kind of keep on rebringing these concepts, acting like we forgot it or like we need to be reminded. No, we don't. We know that this is the main staple of Dragon Ball. And I don't have a problem with Goku struggling in fights, but the problem with Frieza and Gohan and all these characters is there's these characters that don't deserve these significant jumps in power, just given significant jumps in power just so they can be a challenge or be able to defend themselves. I think that's lazy, and them trying to make the excuse of, well, there's always going to be somebody stronger than you. Yeah, why don't you just give him a new enemy? I didn't have a problem with Granola or Gas. Why don't you just give him a new enemy being stronger than him? That's fine. But giving him an old enemy to come back and just saying, well, there's always going to be somebody stronger than you. Well, there's also going to be somebody stronger than the opponent too, so what's the point? I just get annoyed when they do this, like when they said to Goku, like, oh, he needs to get his guard up, and he, blocked the bullet and got hurt. It's like, did he really need to learn this lesson again? Like, how dense is this guy? Or how dense do you think we are? Do you think we're that stupid? But whatever. As Beerus is talking, he says, did I hear that Earth was on the brink again? Hey, Whis. And then he starts talking to Goku and said, and once you're stronger than me, I'll nominate you as the next god of destruction. And Goku said he doesn't want that job. Now, this is very interesting. It is a little jarring the way it got disconnected. He's talking about Gohan, and then he's also just talking about, he's talking about just saying, oh, you need to train harder and then beat me and stuff, whatever. It was just a little weird for me. It's just jarring. But talking about, his statement there, fans, it's crazy because when we got the spoiler leaks and heard about Bulma saying that, Gohan's stronger than Goku and Vegeta, which is like, why would you take her as a credible source? She can't sense ki, and especially God ki. What would she know about how powerful they are, especially at this point since, they've been fighting Gas and Granola and getting significant jumps in power. She doesn't know how powerful they've gotten. So how would she know that? But also since the fact that Goku and Vegeta could sense Gohan's energy when he went into his beast form, all the way in Beerus' planet, they're saying that this means that he's stronger than them. And they focused on that a lot. They focused on how strong Broly was. But then we have a quote or a comment like this from Beerus where he literally blatantly states that he is stronger than Goku and that Goku has to get stronger than him if he wants to get the title. Obviously, Goku doesn't want it, but he said he has to get stronger than him if he wants the title. He literally said from his mouth that he's stronger than Goku, and Goku's still below him, and Goku did not argue or detest against it at all. But people are more focused on saying Gohan is stronger than Goku. Broly is this strong, but not talking about this. And this is clearly those fans that want to make, for some reason, have this. They cannot let go of this obsession of having Goku being stronger than Beerus or just automatically surpassing him. You guys already know my feeling on that. I said it before multiple times. If Goku has surpassed him, or was on the cusp of surpassing him, they would have had a fight to showcase that, right? And they would have, stated it or done something, So it's ridiculous that they keep on saying that he surpassed him, he surpassed him, he surpassed him. like I said, if he surpassed him at any point, Beerus would have already fought him, and they would have shown it through that means, or they would have stated it at some point. They wouldn't just have him surpass him and then, barely touch on that. Because I know there were some instances where they said, stuff like Jiren has surpassed gods of destruction, and Goku beat him, and it was more powerful than him, so that means he's stronger than, Beerus and stuff. But it's like, it has to be more direct, like exactly, and this just completely disproves it. And like I said, they have this obsession with just having Goku surpass him. I also don't like the idea of Goku surpassing Beerus that quick. I don't have a problem with Goku getting stronger than Beerus, but I do think that it should take some time because he's a god of destruction. If Goku just surpasses the god of destruction like Beerus or gods of destruction, it's gonna make them sound weaker and it's gonna make Goku weaker. Because at this point, Goku's still not that powerful. He needs to be way more powerful, right? So if he surpasses Beerus, then it's like, well, that's the high ceiling. So Beerus, I do think he should be more powerful than what these fans want, because if he was as weak as that, where Goku surpassed him at this point, then it would be pretty lame. The Gods of Destruction wouldn't be that as impressive as we were told that they were, right? So it was cool to see finally full confirmation. Yes, this is the manga, not the anime. Those are two different source materials, but this is what we've got right now. But yeah, it's funny that people were talking about Gohan, but they didn't mention this, even though it was directly stated from Beerus's mouth, an incredible source stating it. But then when Bulma says it, it says that Gohan's stronger. They're like, yep, we agree with that, because they, for some reason, want Goku to surpass Beerus, but they also want Gohan to surpass Goku. So it's weird. But after this, we starts talking to Goku about what happened. He says, yeah, there was a threat to the planet, and he said your boy and Piccolo basically led the charge to fight the monster. And it's funny when he said this, because Beerus responds and he's like, wait, Goku's son? That guy's a dad? And I'm just like, what the fuck are you on, Beerus? Are you crazy? How do you not know Goku's a dad? What did you expect? Like, first of all, this guy is old. He's not like a young guy. He might look young, but he's a very old guy. He's like in his 40s, near 50s, right? And you were in his party where you saw his kid. Yes, you might not remember him as much, but come on. You really think Goku's not dad? It was just weird for me to see Beerus being surprised that Goku was a father. Like, why? It was just ridiculous. But this just showcase that Beerus showcases little to no care about what happens with these guys or their, situations, to the point that he doesn't even know this motherfucker's a father. That shit was wild to me. But then he says, do you mean to say you've forgotten about Gohan? And he's trying to think, but he's like, yeah, I don't really remember him because he was kind of relevant, showcasing that even as powerful as Gohan got in the Tournament of Power, which was actually kind of bullshit, because in the Tournament of Power he did acknowledge, Gohan and what he was doing, what he was capable of. So that's kind of not true, or he just forgets very easily. But even with what he was able to do in the Tournament of Power, I guess it just wasn't powerful enough or impressive enough for him, at least. And then Vegeta states the big statement that a lot of people have been going with, where he states, according to Bulma, Gohan may have surpassed even us in the particular battle. So people ran with this, saying that this means Gohan's stronger. Yes, it came from Vegeta's mouth, but this was just from what he heard from Bulma herself. They don't seem too concerned. That doesn't mean anything, but they don't seem concerned. Who do I think is stronger between Goku and Beast Gohan? I know a lot of you guys believe at this point that Beast Gohan is not only stronger than Goku, but he's also, for some reason, the most powerful character, even more powerful than Black Frieza, which I'll get into that too a little bit later. But under the discussion of who's stronger between Goku and Gohan, I do think Goku's stronger. Even with that statement, it's like I said, Bulma cannot sense ki, she cannot sense God ki, she hasn't seen how much they've improved now, and she doesn't know anything about battle power. So how would she know how powerful Gohan is, especially compared to the rest of these guys? And them them not being concerned, I'm not saying that they're not concerned because he's weak or he isn't that powerful, but I think they're not that concerned because they don't believe it that much themselves, and they have to see it. So even though Vegeta said it, I don't think they 100% believe it until they test it out, which I do feel like a lot of the fans are kind of like I said before, jumping the gun when it comes to power scaling and just saying automatically that this character is more powerful. Yes, we hear a statement, but a statement only matters when it is proven or if it's from a credible source. It was not from a credible source, so it has to be completely proven, right? So I do think that in the next chapter we're going to lead up to Goku versus Gohan, so we're going to see a little more of that. But as this is happening, Vegeta starts talking trash to him because Goku basically states that, yeah, I guess we didn't sense Gohan's power because we were in the middle of a battle. And then he says right here, he's like, you mean it? I wish I could have been there. It must have been during me and Vegeta's duel, so we didn't sense his chi. And then Vegeta starts laughing and says, indeed, the duel in which you lost to me. And Goku says, highlight of your lifetime, huh? Which I thought that was funny because Goku's just like, yeah, man, I would have loved to see it. And then he's just explaining why they couldn't, tell what, his power jump. They're basically talking about that. And then Vegeta's just like laughing and saying, yeah, you lost that battle to me. And the fact that Goku's from like, yeah, that's the highlight of your life. You're that pathetic that just beating me once was that impressive to you or that great to you. So I thought that was kind of funny that Goku came back with that. But also it doesn't really make much sense that they couldn't sense his energy because with the amount of power that he had and the jumping power, you would have thought they would have been able to sense him even if they were fighting. Because remember, when Boo got hatched out and they were fighting in an intense battle, they stopped the fight because they could sense it. Even while they were fighting, they could sense his power rising. They just didn't, consider that a main focus because they were trying to focus on the fight. But they did acknowledge that they knew what was happening. And even with, Super Boo was when he was fighting Gotenks, when he was fighting him, in the middle of his fight against Gotenks, he was able to sense Gohan in Supreme Kai's world powering up a bit, and he was able to sense it. So I do see that they're trying to make an excuse or an argument on why Goku and Vegeta didn't notice it because they're in the middle of a battle, and it would have been a decent argument if not the fact that we've seen before when they've been fighting that they've been able to sense it. Hell, Goku in the middle of fighting against Frieza and Namek while they're going back and forth was able to telepathically intercept and communicate and also read what was happening between King Kai, Kami, and Guru. He was able to intercept that, and they even King Kai said like, "Yo, what the hell? How did you be able to hear this? You're in the middle of a fight." And Goku's like, "Yeah, I can focus on that." So it's like even in a high tense fight all the way back then, he could do that. He can intercept telepathic communication between these guys. So it doesn't really make sense that they couldn't sense it. But as this is happening, Carmine is going down there with Goten and Trunks, trying to pull up on Gohan, thinking that not knowing that they're his, one of his is his brother and the other one is basically somebody that looks up to him and is like his friend. And he pulls up with a gun, which is stupid. It's like you had a whole giant monster that was going to destroy the planet and you're pulling out with a pistol. So he starts calling out Gohan. Gohan busts out. He starts shooting him. Gohan catches the bullets, and then he just rages out. He's like, "I'm never gonna let you guys, do what you did again." He transforms. It looks pretty cool. And as he transforms, he basically goes off on them. Carmine's trying to hide behind his car door. He pries it open, and then as he looks in, he sees both Goten and Trunks. He's like, "Goten, Trunks." And they say, "Whoa, don't use our real names and our real identities." And then he's like, "What the hell are you doing with them?" And as he's annoyed with them, he basically de-transforms back into his base. So he went into his beast form because he was pissed off and he was going to hurt him. But also because he just didn't want to... Actually, that doesn't matter. He transformed, and this is cool because Goten and Trunks said, "Whoa, he can go into his beast mode so easily," which is really nice because sometimes when we have characters having these big transformation, it can be kind of a toss-up of, can they easily transform back into it, or is it one of those things that they did it due to emotions? Because he did activate it through rage, so clearly Gohan can't control it, which is good because I really hate it when they have a character that unlocks a new transformation and they're like, "Well, I can't use it because I was in this type of situation or state." And it's like, come on, please just make them have it. Why do you need that? So that's cool, but he transformed because he's trying to scold them. And as this is happening, Goku ends up on top of the car and says, "Hey there, boys, it's been too long." And Gohan went from being annoyed with Goten and Trunks to being happy seeing his dad, which I thought was pretty nice. So yeah, that was pretty much the end of this chapter. There wasn't really much crazy stuff happening. We did have a couple of pretty interesting things, especially some revelations for, like, the terms of power, mainly with Beerus. The other characters is still a little bit iffy on where that's at, but I want to talk about a couple of the ideas and discussions. One, I want to talk about Carmine. Why did they make this character survive and start this whole plan again? Because when I first heard it, I was like, I really don't give a shit. Just give us some more training with these characters. Have Goku and Gohan fight. Have explain more of where these characters' powers lie at this point. Have them train to prepare to beat Black Frieza. We do not care about this guy, right? So they brought him back to do this whole little plan, but then we see his plan and is basically to get Goten and Trunks to use them as his pawns to fight these guys off, which we know it's not going to work because, one, they're not strong enough to handle them, and two, they're their family members and friends, so they're not going to be fighting them, obviously. So why would you make him survive, do this whole thing, and put him in this chapter when you could have just focused on this chapter with these guys training, Broly, and then talking about Black Frieza and preparing for that, right? My theory on this is the reason why they brought him just to be disposable, because I'm pretty sure in the next chapter he's going to be taken down, and this whole story plot and continuation of the Red Ribbon army arc is not going to really go anywhere. So why would they do that? Why would they continue it on if they're not going to really go that far with it? The theory I'm coming up with is the fact that this chapter, the whole point was to have some more detail, a little bit of a scuffle between Vegeta and Broly, have a little bit of training, but this chapter was kind of a bit of a throwaway because the next chapter is what they're really focusing on. The next chapter is going to be mainly the stuff that we want to see. Beast Gohan versus Goku. So we're going to see either Master Ultra Instinct Goku or True Ultra Instinct Goku versus Beast Gohan, and where he's in power. We're going to see them talking with Beerus and seeing how powerful he is. Also, Orange Piccolo, they're probably going to bring up Orange Piccolo up there to train. They're probably going to have Gohan help train Broly because he knows a lot about, activating transformations and high powers through rage. Clearly, at this point, he did it too with, his beast form and how to control that. So he's going to probably help him out. So they're going to have more important and crazy stuff and intense stuff and the stuff that we want in the next chapter. So I think the reason they brought him in here, in my theory, is he's simply just here to be filler. They knew that they couldn't cram all that within this chapter. They had to put some of the stuff, getting back into the main story, or new stuff. They want to get back into giving some new stuff, but they couldn't give it all within this chapter. They have to give some for this, and then mostly the rest for the next one. So they're like, well, if we do shove some of that in this, then it's going to be kind of disconjointed, right? It's going to be halfway through this fight, halfway through this chapter, we had story explanation, and then the other half started this battle, and then the next chapter is going to start through that battle. We would rather have something else be the first half of this chapter, and then them having the lead up to that build up of the fight between those two, right? So I think he was just here to be filler, to set it up, because he's not having any real point. He's not really going to be a big threat. I think he's just here to to pad out the chapter manga and take up some pages, because they're like, well, we have too many pages, and they didn't know how to construct it properly. So they did this whole thing where it's like, well, we can have Magenta, one of his guys, survive, him plotting a plan with the Red Ribbon Army, having this little story with them and Goten and Trunks, so we can use up some of the pages, and then the last few pages, some of the other pages are going to be some fighting, some back and forth, some explanation on the story, and some new details, and then we're going to lead up to Goku in the end meeting up with Gohan, and then the next chapter is all that stuff. So I do have a high hope for chapter 102. I think that's going to be the more impressive, the more entertaining chapter than this one. I think that's where we're going to get all the fun fighting, all the crazy stuff, all the build up. We're going to get more of an explanation on how powerful Gohan is, because even if you want to say Gohan is stronger than Goku, that isn't enough to explain to us what level of power he's at, because he might be stronger than him, but it's like, how much? Is he a bit stronger than him? Is he a lot stronger than him? Is he decently stronger than him? Or like what? So it is important to look into that, even if they do state it. So I think that's why they did that. I think the next chapter is going to be a banger. There's going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of continuation with that, build up with that story. I think the first half is going to be just Goku and Gohan fighting. I don't think they're going to have the whole chapter with just Goku and Gohan fighting, because I don't think it's going to be like a real full-on fight. I think it's going to be kind of like what Broly and Vegeta were doing, where it's a little bit of a scuffle and there's a bit of a back and forth, but it wasn't an all-out brawl. I think Goku just wants to gauge how powerful Gohan is, how much strong he's gotten at this point, because one, he's excited, and also Goku is definitely one of those people that is very curious, and he gets very entertained by finding out how powerful somebody is, right? But also he wants to know how strong he is and where he lies in terms of power, to compare him to Black Frieza, because Black Frieza one-shotted both him and Vegeta, so he's clearly too powerful right now, and they need at this point as much as power as they can get, because they don't know when he will drop back, right? So seeing how powerful Gohan is, he can kind of gauge his level of power. Once when he gauges his level of power, he can at least see where he lies against Black Frieza. I also do want to talk about the topic of people saying that maybe Whis, when he said the strongest person in the universe might be Gohan, we might get a confirmation a little bit in the next chapter if that's the case. I don't agree with that and believe that, because I think it's kind of stupid that people are really thinking that. Like, it's like this, okay? It's one thing if you believe Gohan got stronger than both Goku and Vegeta, but to say he got stronger than Frieza at this point, I think is stupid, because he just got angry a little and transformed, and you're telling me he surpassed Frieza, who did 10 years of training and got his new transformation easily one-shotting these characters? Like, Goku and Vegeta were already well above Gohan, so Gohan surpassing them is already an insane jump. But then we had Frieza bodying them with one shot, and then you're gonna have Gohan surpass even that. That's too insane of a jump in power. I don't think they're gonna do that. Also, it's like, what's the point of it? You've introduced Frieza as a new big threat and a big danger, but now we have Gohan instantly, even before he does anything nefarious, having Gohan surpass him. That's stupid. Especially with Goku, Vegeta, Broly, and Orange Piccolo, even though they're weaker than Black Frieza. If you have Gohan, who's already stronger than him, and have these other characters that are this powerful working with him, they can easily beat him at this point. What's the point of having him as a threat and a danger if he's surpassed already by Gohan? That's just dumb. Come on, guys. Don't be stupid. So I don't agree that. If you want to argue that he's stronger than Goku, I don't agree with that either, but I can at least kind of see where you're coming from, because they are kind of alluding to maybe not. But with the Black Frieza thing, I think that's just dumb. I think you guys are being ridiculous on that regard. I do want to see how powerful he is. Personally, if you guys ask me, do you want Gohan to be stronger than Goku? I will say no, because I do not like this thing where, we constantly have these characters being more powerful than Goku and Vegeta, who, trained super hard, got these godly forms, and having them surpass it just because they got, a bit of training or just a little bit of a rage boost. And I was happy with Gohan getting a new transformation. I don't like the way they did it. I think they could have done a little more cleverly and could have had him train more consistently to showcase that he was still having growth, but it was just that there was this barrier that he couldn't break, and he needed something to break that barrier, and this situation did it. But they did it in a more lazy fashion, but that's fine. But I still don't like it in the end of the day anyway. So personally, and maybe you guys might say, well, the only reason you're saying that Gohan's not stronger than him is because you're biased. But like I said, even if let's say if I'm biased, okay, it doesn't change the fact that you need to 100% prove it through a fight, and we need to wait and not jump the gun. But also, yes, I do not want Gohan to be stronger than Goku. I think it's stupid and lazy. I don't have a problem with Gohan and Piccolo, gaining more power and being more relevant, but I do have a problem with them surpassing them just through this means. If you want to have Gohan surpass Goku by, like, let's say they're training together, and as Goku and Gohan train, Gohan gets stronger than him because of his high potential and his, power jump, then I'm fine with that. I don't mind Gohan surpassing Goku through training, but if he just gets it from that little situation in, the Dragon Ball Super Heroes film, which that situation wasn't intense enough for Gohan to get that insane level of power jump, then I just feel like it's stupid. It makes it even dumber. So I'd rather just have, if Gohan's going to surpass Goku, I would rather have it through, him being weaker right now, but training with Goku and having his high potential, that he's able to surpass him that way. So I think that will be fine. But yeah, this chapter was pretty interesting. I'm happy as a fan. I've been kind of annoyed lately with Dragon Ball, there hasn't been any really new content. Last year was pretty dry, and we were desperate for something new. This year we're getting Daima. Even though most people are not gonna really like it, it's still new content. So we're gonna get Daima. We're getting continuation finally with the manga, so they're going forward, and some more details are gonna be coming out soon at some point about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So we're gonna have some really good stuff coming out this year. I'm just happy that that's happening, and I was getting sick and tired of getting nothing or just getting the same old shit that we had before. So yeah, this was pretty enjoyable. I can't wait for the next chapter. I'm definitely coming back with my chapter reviews. I stopped for a while because there wasn't really anything new, so I didn't want to do it. But with them going this new direction, I'm going to definitely be dropping out each chapter and seeing where they lie. And I'm going to have more discussion videos and topic videos talking about power scaling. So I'm going to have a lot more content. As long as they drop new content, I have new content. So I'm going to be talking more about how powerful they are, my thoughts on it, what direction I think they can go, and my predictions. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.